The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Well, we're back, folks. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and our special co-host, Cindy Lake.
Hey, everybody.
Cindy Lake. Cindy Lake used to be our co-host back in the day when Jesus was a baby. David and Goliath.
See, he's trying to age other people now. Now they turn
now
50. You notice that? You notice that?
By the way, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate
Steve's
it.
birthday yesterday.
No.
You know, he's a copycat. Who's older?
Who?
I thought it was Jay's birthday yesterday.
No,
you
it was
said.
your birthday
Oh,
yesterday.
you pointed at him, and I'm like,
I was
oh.
just
Yeah,
telling Jay.
I told you he was getting older. He can't
okay.
remember his own birthday. It was only a day ago.
I know, but yeah.
Steve turned 50.
Shh! Shut the hell up! What's wrong with you?
We all keep announcing it.
What's wrong with you?
You're not
I'm
a woman.
21.
Okay.
Look at me. I run. I lift.
Mm-hmm. Staying young.
My back hurts every once in a while. But Cindy, how you been?
I've been well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about you.
About me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm married to Jay.
Why? Why'd you get married to him for?
Why?
Come on. Why you pick Jay?
Why?
Yeah, I want to know.
He's the man of my dreams.
Oh, you dreamt about him. Damn. Okay. All right.
It's a long story.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 4 children, 2 grandchildren, former chairwoman of the Clark County Republican Party, former candidate for Clark County Commission G, and possibly
Which you almost won, too,
candidate.
by the way.
Right, and I might do it again.
What you mean might do it again?
Might run again.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do that again.
Yeah,
So
why not?
that's,
Get Jay involved.
But you gotta run for D though, because that's where I live.
Oh, well.
I would support you either way, but no, I can't vote for you if you run for G.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd support you if you ran for D, though.
Yeah, that would be an uphill battle.
But I'm a realtor for 20-something
Hey, wait a
years
minute.
now.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got beat up in the media. Why can't you?
We all have, right?
Oh yeah,
You have too, haven't you?
yeah. That's
Yeah,
the
he
that's
ran
the
before.
that's the
Jim
fun
ran
in it.
before, I remember.
Yeah, against Kevin Chow. Remember?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Trustee.
Trustee. Yeah.
Trustee. Do you trust him to be trustee?
Kevin. I don't know Kevin very well.
Okay. Look, Cindy got all serious. You saw that serious face?
I really don't. I really don't know Kevin very well, personally.
All right. He's
I know
all
you
right
probably know
guy.
him better.
He's all right guy. He's trying to get a forensic audit, which he's a Democrat, was Republican, but that's a very Republican thing to go
It
ask
is.
for.
Those are your words.
All right, forensic audit, remember? Metro.
Yeah.
Metro. We need to get a forensic audit on the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Looking at Gillespie. That means you, buddy. But, you know, we're going to have a very excited show today. Actually, it's more like a real life story.
Oh.
You know, probably after the show, probably want to, you know, write a book about it, get some book deals, you know. But before that, I just want to talk a little bit about Washington, D.C. That was fun, you know. Went over there and it's all Congress was off because of some type of furlough. I forget what they call it. But the week I go, that's the week they're off. You believe that? They probably knew I was coming. Oh, Sansa's coming. We better take it off. But I had a good meeting with Mark Amadei's congressional staff and legal team, and they were interested about the family court corruption. That's all I talked about when I didn't talk about anything else. Just
That's why
family
you went, right?
Yeah. Well, we went for the protest, and then I
Oh.
kind of added some other stuff in there, which I really didn't make the full protest. Probably I was making more time talking to politicians in Capitol Hill than anything else. And then spoke to U.S. Senator Dean Heller, and he he seems like he wanted to do something, but you don't know until these people actually do it.
No.
You know, because I've been in politics long enough to trust no one. Their action speaks louder than your words do, and see what they do.
What can he do, Steve?
Well, he could get the
Tell-
Department of Justice involved, and that was my main focus.
And can we directly get the Department of Justice involved
Yeah.
without going to our Congress people and saying,
Sure.
how can we do
Sure,
that?
you file complaints with the DOJ. You know, I wanted to go see the AG, but I heard Jeff Sessions is on a rocky platform there, so I didn't think it would make any sense for me to go see him. But they have a group in D.C. called Judicial Watch, which I sent an email to, and apparently they go after the corruption within family court too. You know, and then I had a nice tour at the White House. That was fun. You know, I've been to D.C. probably about 12 times, and I've never been to the White House. And now I'm in the White House. You know what I mean? Do you remember last time somebody from the audience was trying to talk smackety dack, and now they're trying to do that again, Jim? I thought you scored them away.
No, see, that's what happens when you bring in all these rowdy people, Steve.
Oh, blame it on me. You
Well,
got
I
a
can't-
following.
I can't blame it on myself.
Mr. Sampson,
So
Mr. Heller can change legislature in order to make the laws more fair for family law.
what the hell just happened here?
Yeah, I think that's a topic for next week, right?
I think so. These people think they got their own. They think they're running the show or something. You know, we got Jay running security. He didn't do a damn thing. He just sat there. Anyways, so hopefully, you know, that they'll be able to do something and square away this family court stuff.
Which needs to happen.
And my advice to you, Cindy, if you're ever thinking about divorcing Jay, you get yourself a paralegal and file the documents. Don't go in front of a judge and let them decide for
I
you.
told him that.
You told him that. No wonder he's still married to you. He's like, hell no, shit ain't going
I'm
there.
not stupid.
So,
Not to say anybody else who goes through that is, but
yeah.
you want to avoid that scene at all costs, as we know.
And you imagine if a lot of litigants don't go before a judge to make a decision, then we'll need less and less judges.
Right.
And then save a whole bunch of tax
And I
dollars.
really do think that that's, you know, one of the efforts we should make is really educating. Of course, is what I do anyway, and you,
Right.
we all do. We try to educate. So this is an educational process, and if we educate people that you don't want to go there,
Right.
do anything but go there.
Avoid family court.
Avoid family
Tell
court.
it to the people, Cindy.
Avoid family court at every cost.
Yeah, you don't want a stranger getting into your business.
Because your kids are more important, and your sanity, and your bank account, and your lives, right, are more important
Absolutely.
than putting it all out there
Absolutely.
and putting yourself at the mercy of those
Strangers.
strangers. Just, you know,
Tell you how you should live your life.
Well, and then you know, they want to get you hooked into the system anyway because they just want more money.
Yeah.
I just love when I love every time I listen to family court, anybody running for family court judge, and I'm not saying they're all bad. I think it's pretty much the same across the board with all politicians. I think when people originally run for office, they have the best of intentions, and they honestly think that they can do a really good job. But I think what ends up happening is then once they get in there and they've been there for a while, they become just a part of the process, and it's more about keeping their job than it is about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just status quo. So that's why I'm always trying to try to get people to avoid creating more bureaucracy, whether it's family court or the federal government, state, county, city, whatever. The more local you can make it and just let individuals make the decisions is usually a lot better way to go.
You know, I want to thank the Las Vegas Tribune for writing a very, very good article about me to kind of balance out what the columnist for the Las Vegas Review Journal wrote. I said Las Vegas Tribune, right? Yeah, okay. All right, good. So, Cindy, you got anything?
oh, no. Just said what I
Don't
had
got
to
any
say.
rants?
Rants, let's see. What? That I'm going Huntington Beach.
Like another echo from the back.
Huntington Beach.
What's going on in Huntington
Murder. Have you seen the video of what happened yesterday with
What
the
happened?
cop in Huntington Beach who shot that 15-year-old kid?
No.
Like 9 times, close range.
9.
9. The kid had pulled his, it looks like he pulled his clip. They were wrestling on the ground, and it looked like the kid pulled his clip, his magazine, which, you know,
Out of the gun?
No, out of his belt.
Oh.
And the cop shot him, I don't know, 7 to 9 times close range. The kid is dead, and
Wow.
of course you're going to hear both sides of the story, you know.
Yeah, it was the kid's fault. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, some people are saying, but you know, it's encouraging to me because I've heard the other side,
Right.
the right side,
Right.
that the cop is completely wrong. He just murdered a 15-year-old kid in cold blood.
Yeah.
Who was no threat. Shot him in the back a few times too.
Wow.
Shot through the window of the 7-Eleven. Any innocent
Shot
bystander
through the window of 7-Eleven.
could have been killed. Yes. This, you know, overkill.
He was unarmed.
The kid was unarmed. Yes. At this point.
And you could tell the difference between a magazine and a weapon. You'll know
yeah.
which one got pulled.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a
is it-
magazine can't do anything without a firearm.
No, unless you're going to throw the bullets at them.
Yeah, exactly. So.
You know? So, Jim?
No, I actually really don't have a real rant, except for I'm a little upset with you about something. Yeah, I was driving to the show today, and all of a sudden I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I notice I'm starting to get gray hairs. and I think it's because I've been friends with you for 10 years. You stressed me out so bad. I'm turning gray. I'm only 41. Look at that, gray hairs. It's your fault, Steve Sanson.
You blaming me for that?
Yeah, well, everybody else does. I think I'm going to call the RJ and see if they can write an article on that. Obviously,
It's
not a
definitely
rant,
their
more of a...
fault. It's Vegas' fault.
Cindy, you blaming me for anything?
Not at all. I think you're doing a great job.
Oh,
I
thank
do.
you.
I really do.
Thank you.
I really do. You're very controversial, as you know. You know, you're
Me?
in their faces, but that's what has to happen. Really has to happen. In
I'm
order
threatening
to
them.
make
I'm intimidating
change.
them. Or whatever language
You're
they're
not.
using.
You're not. You're holding them accountable, and that's what everybody should be doing.
No.
You know, you just have a different way of doing it
No.
than some people do, but we all
have our own style.
We all have our own style, but everybody has to hold our electeds, appointeds accountable.
Yeah.
Things will change,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I
Well-
have to say. I blame you for, you know, the good change that's...
You blaming me for the good change? We did help get rid of Gillespie, didn't we? Because you were right there with me when we were going after him.
I hope so.
All right, folks, we're going to take
Baby steps.
Baby steps. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back with Jasmin Bourn, and she's going to be discussing the parental alienation by Clark County District Court Judge, Family Division, Rena Hughes. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Cindy Lake. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those and other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Television. Or, if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com, or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Cindy Lake with Veterans in Politics. That's a ring to it. You know,
Yeah.
we used to say that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then she abandoned us, left us. Jay told her she can't come on the program anymore. He wants his Saturdays from 2 to 3. Don't give it to the Veterans in Politics. And then she left.
Well, then Jay probably wanted her to take a nap. That's how I got here. It's my parents taking a nap. From 2
Who
to 3.
replaced this Cindy? Was it Lily Babcock that replaced her? I forget.
No, Lily
I
was-
brought
Lily
Lily
was
to you.
That's true. You did bring Lily to us.
I brought Lily to you.
Yeah, because Lily was the secretary
Yeah.
when you were chair, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Who took your place, though, Cindy?
show.
I forget.
I don't remember.
Oh, man, it was a while.
Wasn't it, I think it was Hammond, right?
Who? Hammond?
The attorney.
Oh, Craig Drummond.
Craig Drummond, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think Drummond took your place.
Yeah.
Anyways, glad you're with us for this episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
No worries. We have Jasmin Flower Bourn. She's going to discuss the parental alienation of Clark County District Court Judge Family Division Renee Hughes. Miss Bourn.
Hi. Thanks for having me on your show.
Get her to get close to the microphone. Miss Bourn, tell us about you. From birth, because you're very young, so this shouldn't take long.
My name is Jasmin Bourn, and I'm 31 years old. I'm a proud mom of an 11-year-old son, and I'm, a very simple person, and I've dedicated and devoted my whole entire life to my son, and that's been my whole world, my whole life, and I'm a person who believes in change in the world and believing in the good in people. So I have a huge heart, which is my strongest asset, my biggest weakness at the same time. But yeah, I'm a pretty simple, quiet, keep to myself person that's been going through hell for a long time.
Hell, right?
Yeah.
Tell us how your hell even begun before you even got into family court.
Ooh, well, my hell started when I was just a kid. I've been through a lot of abuse in my life. Went from my father and my brother, and then 16 met my worked for my husband at 14 actually.
You worked for your husband at 14 years old?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was my first job. I basically spent my whole entire life taking care of my mother and taking care of everybody else, and
how old was your husband when you worked for him at 14?
He's 14 and a half years older than me, so
he was around 29?
20, yeah. 28, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Well, I graduated high school early, so I graduated at 16, and ended up, going out of town on a business trip, with, I managed my husband's businesses, and we went out of town on a business trip, and he ended up getting me drunk, and
that's what Jay did to Cindy.
I ended up, in bed with him, and from then on out, I left my home, ran away didn't want to be there with my dad and my brother, ran away from home, and ran to him and thought he was going to be my savior,
Could I ask why you didn't want to be at home with your brother and father? You don't have to say anything. You say pass if you don't want to.
Oh, no, it's okay. You know what? I've been through a lot. I was a victim of a lot of things, but I'm not a victim anymore. I'm a survivor. I've survived a lot of things in my life. And, yeah, at the age of 6 years old, my dad was molesting me. And, he was in and out of jail, in and out of our life. And I was my mom's mom, so I took care of her and put all my feelings aside and never really told anybody. And my husband was the first person I told. But, it moved on from my dad, to my brother. And
doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess, every male figure in my life, I don't look at men in any way at all, you guys, so I look at people for people, and there are a lot of bad people in this world, and it has nothing to do with, race, gender, any of that.
Okay.
But yeah, every male figure, which, has only been about 3, and has, hurt me and treated me horribly. So,
So you left home because of the abuse at home,
yes.
and then you ran into the arms of your
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
How old were you when you married him?
I didn't marry him until 10 years after we were together, but I was with him. I moved right in with him at 16.
So you were living with him as boyfriend, girlfriend at
Yeah.
16.
Mm-hmm.
And no one pressed statutory?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're with him and you had the baby, right?
Yeah, I had
What's your son's name?
Bradley.
Bradley. You had
Gray.
Bradley,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like your savior.
Oh yeah, I mean
The only good
absolutely.
male
Oh,
you've
my
ever
son-
had in your whole
Yeah,
entire
my
life.
son has completely saved my life. I mean, my husband knew I wanted kids. I have a almost 18-year-old stepdaughter too that I raised since the time she was 1.5. Which is, I don't speak to her now, which is pretty devastating. But Kelly, I love you. I'm always here for you.
Okay.
But yeah, my son was my savior.
You want to talk
He
a
gave me
little bit
purpose.
about what happened in San Diego? Was that what sparked the whole divorce thing? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, that was by far probably the worst day of my life.
You want to explain?
Yeah. We went on a trip to San Diego, a vacation,
You and your
and
husband?
me and my husband and my son.
And your son?
Hmm.
How old was your son back then?
He was 9.
9.
Hmm. And I don't remember about 12 hours of my life. I ended up being there and waking up at home in bed with my husband, shaking me, waking me up, calling me a whore. And
Why would he say that to you?
oh, because that was my second name to him. That was just, another thing. My husband, he's pretty out there, I never been with any other man my whole entire life. He's the only person as a loyal, faithful wife, and my life revolved around my family.
Right.
And that day, like I said, I don't remember anything. The last memory I have is watching my son play at the pool. And
What were you told that happened afterwards?
I was told a couple different stories, like I said, I was told I was a whore, ripped out of bed, told to go scrub myself in the shower,
Why would
throw
he
away
say
my
that?
clothes,
Why would he say that?
because he said that, the original story that he told me was that I met a couple and I wanted to go hang out with them, and I was in the jacuzzi fully clothed, which I don't swim at all. I don't wear shorts. I don't wear bathing suits. There's a lot of things I don't go swimming, but I was in the jacuzzi in the hot tub with this couple, and fully clothed and just very talkative. And he said, I wanted to go hang out with them, and I have to make this very clear about myself. I've always kept to myself and been very, very quiet. Not by choice, maybe, just life circumstances. And that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm barely right now able to really talk to people, and so that was the, original story. He told me to go to the hospital and get an STD test, and I went to the hospital,
Because
and
you were in the hot tub with a couple?
because he said that I left with them,
Oh.
and that I left with them, and that, he watched me walk away with them, and ended up having to go to the hospital, and kind of just told him, I guess, what he told me, and that I had nothing. I couldn't remember a single thing, and they said that, it sounds like you were roofied, and they did a rape kit on me, and they said that they wouldn't be able to get the results or have it go through unless I contacted the San Diego police, in which, at that time, I didn't even know how to feel or how to think or anything. I was so distraught and just, like I said, worst day of my life. And my husband ended up not letting me call the police. And then, shortly, after.
Who do you think drugged you?
Well, shortly after, shortly after I wouldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed. He ended up coming in there and bawling, crying, He doesn't do that.
Your husband?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically telling me it was his fault and that he did it.
He roofied you?
I don't know what, he didn't say that in his exact words, but,
Okay.
he basically told me that it was his fault, and, that's, I didn't know how to.
So, mentally, how was your mental state of mind?
Not good.
What happened?
At that point, I had 29 years of trauma in my life that I never dealt with. It was just brushed under the rug, put aside, and everything was in my face.
Okay.
And I wasn't okay. I didn't want to feel how I felt anymore. I didn't want to wake up in the morning.
What does that mean?
It means, exactly what it means, and I guess that's a huge deal. Huge deal. It's, with my court case, and I know this, and I'm not trying to justify it, not by any means, because,
Did you know about your court case before or after you felt?
No, I ended up leaving. I ended up feeling so bad. My husband's dad told me that I could go live with him at his house, and I went to go live with him. But my husband had a key to the house, so he'd come in there whenever he wanted to. And when I said I didn't want to, when I didn't want to breathe, yeah, I tried to kill myself, and almost succeeded.
How long were you in the hospital for?
2.5 weeks on life support in a coma. Yeah.
What did you do?
I drank a whole bottle of wine and took a bottle of pills. And now that I'm talking about it publicly, people will know, and
Okay.
but
After you got out the hospital, what happened?
I was mentally just in an awful place, and I just had, like I said, my husband, he tried to get me to come back home, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even get out of bed, I sat in bed all day long crying and couldn't do anything at all.
Right.
And shortly after that, he kicked me out of the house.
So your
Out of his
husband
dad's
kicked you
house.
out the house.
Out of his dad's house,
Out of his
yeah.
dad's house.
Yeah. And he knew that I didn't have, my husband took away all family that I had. I wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to talk to people. I was basically locked in a cage
So he
with
was
him.
continually abusing you.
Oh yeah.
So where did you go when he kicked you out of his dad's house?
I ended up
Why weren't you in his house? Why?
in my husband's house.
Yeah, kind of missed that.
Oh,
part.
because I left. Yeah.
You left.
Yeah.
And you went to his dad's.
Yeah,
house.
his dad told me
Okay,
to go
to
live
stay there.
with him.
And he kicked you out of the dad's house.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go after that?
I checked myself into a mental hospital.
Okay.
Because
How long were you there for?
11 days, and then
This is after you got out of the hospital.
yeah. I was there for 11 days, and they referred me to Shade Tree,
Okay.
women's domestic violence shelter, and I lived there
For how long?
for almost 5 months.
How was life there?
It was hard. You know,
Right.
it was being a person that couldn't talk to anybody or socialize or anything. I mean, you're living in one room with 100 other women with different personalities and a lot of things going on. And
Were they there with their kids, any of these women?
some of them were, yeah.
Could you bring kids there?
Yeah.
How come you didn't bring yours?
I've been there. I spent 5 months there. And I would never bring my son there. I'm sorry, I wouldn't.
Is it that
It's-
bad there?
I mean, yeah, you know, it's they're stealing, and I got my hair chopped off in there.
You hear it chopped off?
Yeah.
While you're sleeping?
Yeah, you have to sleep with your, you know, purse under your pillow, and
Somebody cut your hair while you're sleeping?
mhm. Yeah.
If you don't mind, I think we should take a quick break.
Okay.
Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, Cindy Lake, Veterans in Politics. We're here with Jasmin Flower Bourn, discussing the parental alienation of Judge Rena Hughes. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those and other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Or, if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com, or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
Folks, we're back. Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Cindy Lake with Veterans in Politics. We're here with Jasmin Flower Bourn, discussing the parental alienation of family court Judge Rena Hughes. And what we were doing, folks, we were painting a picture of how she got to this point, and then we'll start jumping into the court situation so you could fully understand what's going on with this young lady. So, Miss Bourn, where were we?
Why I didn't take my son into the shelter with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't. I've been penalized for that decision, most definitely and I've been judged by a lot of people. But if I could go back, I would make the same decision. You know.
Okay. So just to go over everything, you were victimized by your family, your brother and your father, and you ran away from them, and you went with your boss. He was about 15 years older than you, so it's give and take. And you end up marrying him and had a son, and he brought you to California, and he victimized you again, he was verbally abusive to you and
Oh,
very
yeah, I mean,
controlling.
yeah.
Was he physically abusive to you?
Yeah.
So he was a domestic violence individual as well. Did he threaten your life at
Oh,
all?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I
So
left him,
you're mentally traumatized, and then you come back to Vegas and you attempted to hurt yourself, correct?
correct.
And you survived that, and you left your ex-husband and you moved in with your father-in-law, and your ex-husband kicked you out, and then you were on the streets at this point and living in Shade Tree, which is not a very good place to be.
No.
And you would never recommend anybody taking their children there
No.
because of safety reasons and so on and so forth. So,
I mean, if anybody knows where Shade Tree is, too, just the area. I mean, we had
Yeah.
ambulance on,
right.
Yeah.
every,
So pick up from there.
Okay, well, I was there, when I got there, I was there for about a month and a half when I got court papers. And,
He's the plaintiff.
yes.
Okay.
Let me backtrack a minute. The reason why he kicked me out of his father's house is because I tried to file divorce for him.
Oh, you tried to
Yes,
to
I
leave the
filled it.
marriage.
Yes, I
Okay.
filled out papers. He didn't want to sign them. Basically told me, if you leave, I'm going to ruin your life and I'm going to take your son from you. So I mean, he fairly warned me.
Okay.
I had no contact with my son for the first month and a half I was in there.
Okay.
Couldn't see him, couldn't talk to him. We have a gate in front of the house, so I couldn't knock on the door.
Right.
God forbid I throw a rock there and I'm going to be arrested for,
Right.
I received papers in there and couldn't believe what I was reading. I mean, he painted me out to be
The villain.
a monster, and
That's what monsters do.
Yeah.
They project.
and he got away with it because when you're at that point, when you've lived the life that I have, you don't have a voice.
So let me ask with just one quick question. So he's painted you out that way, right?
Mhm.
And then I just want to kind of, so we can segment into the actual court side of it. What about his background?
Oh, he's good.
as far as like, if he's going to and thank you very much for coming on, because everything you've said, like, if I've never been through anything like that in my life, for somebody to be brave enough to come on and say the stuff that you've said is like, just, that's like one of the, it's undescribable, the kind of courage that one has to have to do that. So I want to thank you very much for doing that.
I almost didn't make it here today, you guys.
Oh, what? Yeah. So my thing is that, like, because I know a lot about this judge, and one of the things that I wanted to kind of get at with you is, like, so basically he's painted you out to be this monster because you've went through all this trauma in your life. Well, is he some angel? I mean, he hasn't had any kind of problems in his life. He's never been involved with any kind of police disputes or anything of that nature himself.
Oh no, he's been arrested several times.
I was going to ask if you had ever called the police. You were saying he was abusing you. Did
And
you
that's
ever call the police
that's
on
the
him?
thing that I want to make very clear to anybody who's listening right now, to the women who are out there and they feel alone and they know how it feels to be in my situation. You don't call the police. I know people tell you that, you have to call the police, and I would tell somebody today, please call the police, because it could save your life, just by having it on record. But when you're in that situation and you have nobody, and I was not going to leave my son, it took a very traumatic experience for me to actually leave, because I just lost, my sanity, everything. And
So nobody
you
else
don't-
was ever aware of what you endured with him for all those years that
Yeah,
you've been
no,
together.
no.
So you kept it quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, I wasn't allowed to talk to people. I had to,
He isolated you.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to.
That way you won't
text on
get
the phone or
strength
nothing.
and get the courage to
Yeah,
leave. Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, and people don't understand. They judge. Not all, but some do, and I've had a lot of judgment. Over spending that much time with my husband and going through what I've been through and staying and the fact is that I was not going to leave my son. It didn't matter what I was going through. I could take it because I wanted to make sure that my son was okay and happy.
So
and,
he held your son over your head.
Oh yeah.
He
Still to
extorted
this-
you with your son.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go into the courtroom. What happened your first day?
Well, the first day, the day that I was actually supposed to be there on my first court hearing.
In front of Rena Hughes.
Right. I ended up showing up, taking a bus from the shelter, going in the courtroom by myself, and come to find
you were a
out.
pro se litigant at this time.
Yeah. Come to find out, the hearing was changed. Nobody told me, so I sat there for 2 hours.
They do that a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
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 Like your time don't mean shit to them.
Right.
So
So it was rescheduled, and
then the second time,
oh man,
what happened?
I went in there, and I don't remember too much of a lot because I was terrified. And walking into that courtroom, I'd never been in trouble in my life.
So you have no record.
No, never detention in school, nothing.
Did you graduate from high school?
I did a year early. Yeah,
A year
I graduated
early.
at 16. Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably part of the reason why I probably ended up with my husband. I've always been a very mature, responsible kid, and I walked in there and it was like a foreign country to me. I was terrified to I was terrified about the whole thing.
What happened in that courtroom that day?
My husband, he made allegations, of that I'm a whore and I'm a heroin addict.
Have you ever used
And
heroin?
Never. No. My husband was he has actually, I wish that I could go in the courtroom and tell Judge Hughes to lift up his right pant leg because he's got, bulging veins from track marks. He was a heroin
So your
addict for 7
husband's a
years.
heroin addict, but he projected that you were.
Oh yeah, like he definitely used his story, his background to
On you,
to
make it your
to make my
story.
yes, absolutely. Yes.
So portray you as being a whore and a drug user. Heroin's one of
And
those
mind you, I
things.
had never been for
You never been either of those.
29 years of my life, I've been with one man my whole entire life. Like,
Now that's a tough call for being a whore if you only been with one person.
Well, I've been called a lot of things, and said a lot of things.
So he's supporting all of these claims. How?
Not by hearsay.
Hearsay.
He went in there
Which
claiming
is a violation of your constitutional right.
Right.
To be heard, right for rule of evidence. The rule of evidence was out the window.
Right.
So he had no evidence, just him calling you a whore.
No, that's
and
been
you're
the
a
story of
drug
my
user.
case. No, that's
Okay.
been basically the story of my case. Yeah.
And she believed him because she's known him back in the day, and they used to run numbers together. And I'm talking about the judge now. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Without no evidence, she believes him. So what happened to you, Jasmin?
She didn't take away my son the first time that I was in there. God, I've had so many court hearings and so many things. And going back to this, that was a very traumatic experience in my life. And like I said, I couldn't speak up for myself. And at the time, that's what a lot of people don't understand too. When you're in an abusive relationship like that, you have a lot of self-doubt built up in your head. 29 years of my life, I've been told I'm not good enough.
So you had no self-esteem.
So, right. So going in there, I didn't know what to think, honestly. I know what to think now because I know who I am now and I know what I've been through. But at the time, I had no understanding what was happening, what was going on. And I blamed myself, you know. I mean,
So, okay. What did she do that day? Did she take away your legal rights? Did she have, you have
no,
supervised visits?
yeah, I had from that day on, I only had my son. She gave me my son Saturdays, supervised visitation for 2 hours, in which she made his father the supervisor. And at the time,
All right, so what grounds do you need supervised visits? Did he talk about that you
Well,
try to kill yourself?
Well, here's
Is
the
that
thing.
That what he mentioned?
yes, and here's the thing is,
So it made you a danger to the child? Is that what they were saying?
my biggest mistake was going into that courtroom and being as honest as I was, because I did go in there and I did tell my judge, you know, that I admitted to trying to commit suicide, and I admitted to, you know, turning to alcohol for a very short period of my life, you know, about 5 months. But it, you know, it didn't have to do with me being an alcoholic. It had to do with that I didn't want to get up in the morning. I'd lost hope. I was alone. I was afraid, and I didn't want to feel how I was feeling. And I regret that, and I'm so sorry, you know, to my son for almost ruining his life. But
Did you have a place to live at that time?
no, I part of my stories. I'm sorry. I have so much going on in my head right now. A huge thing that happened to me that really was a big setback in my life was that I ended up developing epilepsy when I left my husband. I had grand mal seizures. A lot. I was in the hospital a lot. So by the time I went to court, I had already been in the hospital for having seizures probably about 15 times. A lot of trauma to my head, and so I mean, you know, and then checking myself
What do you mean trauma to your head? How did that happen?
No, I had a lot of trauma to my head from, you know, having the seizures and falling, but you know,
Gotcha.
Were you on any medication? Did they medicate you or in the hospital?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they had me on a lot of different medications, in which I don't take any now, but I've been diagnosed with PTSD and epilepsy, severe anxiety disorder, ADD. I mean, I've, you know, nightmares. I couldn't sleep. Insomnia. I couldn't sleep because I would have night terrors every night. So
yeah, they call them brain cocktails. Cindy understands what I'm talking about. Where sometimes they just over medicate you to the point where like certain things in your brain just interact wrong.
Yeah, I was wondering if that might have been the cause, perhaps.
Well, one of the things, listening to you, I actually was speaking to a mother that that didn't have any of the trauma that you've went through, but she had recently had a court case where she was brought in on suspicion of DUI. So she went in front of a judge, and she had spent 3 days in jail, and she didn't have an attorney either. And so when she went in front of the judge, she just begged the judge, like, if you just get me out of here, like, my kids need me, I need to be around my kids. And the judge basically said, well, your kids are probably better off without you. And so the judge didn't even realize the fact that if this mother would have had the opportunity right then to go back to her kids, that might have corrected the self-medicating drinking problem to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. I checked myself after that first court hearing, and I mean, I had no idea idea. I had never would have guessed in a million years in my life and how I was with my life and everything that I would end up in a courtroom. And not only that, but to have my son taken from me when I spent 24 hours a day with my son. Like, my whole entire life was based around that little boy. I did not do anything on my own, ever. I volunteered at school, PLT. I mean, homework, everything was a moment for us. I mean, my son, and his sister, I mean, they were my whole entire world. So not only had I, people say it's the strongest decision you can ever make is to leave an abusive relationship, but I lost my whole entire life leaving him. And I'm living my life right now being abused by the courts, and I mean, it's just
because there's really not, and I mean, as a man, it's probably not my place to make this statement, but just from women that I've talked to, probably the most, well, from what I've been told, from a mother, like the most traumatic experience you can ever put a mother through is to take their child from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you better.
I mean, a good mother. Granted, there are parents out there, there are mothers out there that do not deserve to have their children.
But there better be some really solid evidence,
Exactly.
and some really solid proof to make sure that that is truly in the best, you know.
Does Rena Hughes have any children?
No.
I know that answer, but
No.
I was asking you. So
No,
she
she's
can't
got-
even relate.
No,
She's
she's.
pets, I know that, because we
Yeah.
met her at the,
I don't even know how they honestly can put somebody in a family court
who doesn't?
who doesn't even have a family. Yeah, I mean, it's just it. How can you make a decision? How can you understand children and what's best for them? How can you say you know what's best for a child when you don't have a child of your own? Who are you to judge, make it a say or anything? I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous to even,
Didn't your husband also had an investigator follow you around?
Yes, yes. He paid a private investigator to follow me around.
Wouldn't that be borderline stalking or harassment or something?
Oh yeah, but
like
it's
that?
not even. He's been following me around for a long time. I mean,
GPS on your car even?
Yeah, I had to get rid of my car. It was the car that I had with him, and when I got cleared of my epilepsy, that's the very next day I got a job, and I was able to drive, and he ended up giving me the car. Wouldn't give me any more time with my son or anything else, but he gave me the car. But I know why he gave me the car now, and I'm very aware of my surroundings. My husband's a very, very paranoid person. He's one of those people that leave little strings hanging from, parts of the house attic. So he knows, if anybody's been in the house, I would have to take the roundabout home before I came home, because if somebody was going roundabout with me, then they were following me home. So I'm very aware of my surroundings and what's going on. So I've known for, a long time now that he was sending people to follow me. I have a letter filed away for almost a couple years now saying if anything should accidentally happen to me, it was him.
He threatened to kill you?
I mean, he didn't say that he told me he was gonna, that if he couldn't have me, nobody else could, and that he was gonna ruin my life, and he was just hoping that I would take my own life, and he almost got his wish. But every experience in my life, everything that I've been through has made me stronger.
You also volunteered to be on the monitor drug alcohol thing?
Oh yeah. Because of all of his allegations and his the nonsense, I've been through everything in that courtroom. She has put me through every single obstacle course there is to go through.
She, meaning
Judge Hughes, yeah. She put me on an alcohol bracelet while I was in the shelter the first time, and had it on for 30 days. It came back tampered with, in which it didn't come back that I was drinking alcohol or anything. It came back tampered with. And with those bracelets, you can't stick anything or get anything in between them. I mean, there's so many rules. You can't use hand sanitizer. You can't use anything with alcohol in it, period. And I was in a shelter. I had leggings. I had, the same clothes. I mean, my only thing that I can come up with in all this time is that the leggings maybe got in between it. If that is even it, maybe could be other things. From
For time purposes, since we're running out of time, Jasmin, you now got your own place. Mm-hmm. You have a job. You have a vehicle, and what would you tell folks out there, young women that are going through the same thing, or young men for that matter, because there's a lot of young men that get abused.
Oh, most definitely. Yep,
well,
it has
what would
something
you
to do
say?
with.
What would you say to them?
You're not alone. The worst feeling in the world is to feel like you're all alone, and you're not. If anybody wants to reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll come see you, talk to you in a heartbeat, and you don't have to do this by yourself. And unfortunately, this happens every day. And when you're in the situation, you do feel like you're the only one it's happening to, and you can survive this and get through it, and to reach out and talk to people. Therapy, the more you educate yourself on the signs of an abuser and the domestic violence, I mean, I learned so much, and I realized exactly what it was, when I saw the signs, and I just checked them off. I mean, you can, they're all the same. So educate yourself, on the abuse.
Jasmin, I got one thing to say to you in closing. From your tone of voice when you first started this interview to what it is now, you said and I'm trying not to get too emotional, one of the coolest things ever. You said survivor. That's what you are.
Thank you.
You went from this quiet, you can tell in the tone of your voice, and congratulations, because you are a survivor now.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, folks, I just want to say when I met Jasmin, she could hardly put a sentence together. She didn't even want to look at me. She looked down on the ground when she was talking, and that was several months ago, Jasmin. Yeah. And now look at her. I mean, she's on this program talking to who knows how many people when they listen or hear. So I want to thank you for that, Jasmin. You have blossomed from when I first met you. So you are strong.
It's been baby steps.
And anybody put their hands on you, you fucking put two in their goddamn head. Understand me? This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, Cindy Lake. That was Jasmin Flower talking about how she was victimized by her husband, by her family, and re-victimized by Clark County Family Court Judge Rena Hughes. Until next week.